Hey sports family, so today we'll be doing start sit NFL week 2 of fantasy football. And yeah, we have a lot to talk about in each position: quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, defense, kicker, you name it. We're gonna go over it right now, so let's get it. So first up, quarterback. Who should we start this week? So Josh Allen versus the Bills. You want to start Josh Allen this week. The reason why is that coming off a strong Week 1 performance, Allen faces a Jets defense that struggled against the pass last week. High rushing upside boosts floor. So the defense last week versus the Steelers, the Jets had wasn't the greatest. But Josh Allen does Josh Allen things, so you definitely should start him easily, no question about that. Next one, Lamar Jackson, Ravens versus Brown. Why should you start him? Well, it's easy. You should definitely start him no matter what. Elite rushing quarterback facing a Browns defense that allowed QB scrambles last week. Explosive upside. So Lamar Jackson as well this past week did really good versus the Bills. Sadly, the Ravens lost, but knowing the fact that Lamar Jackson will be scrambling a lot, he's more likely to get a touchdown and as well as a lot of rushing yards. Next up, Jalen Hurts, Eagles at Chiefs. Why you should start him? So, dual threat quarterback with strong rushing and passing stat. Chiefs have allowed big games to mobile quarterbacks. 100%. As you saw Jalen Hurts with the Cowboys, they didn't really have the best defense, so Jalen Hurts was running all over them. As for the Chiefs don't really have the best defense as well, and Hurts is just going to keep doing his thing. He's going to keep on cooking easily. Now we have is Justin Herbert, Chargers at Raiders. So facing a Raiders secondary that struggled versus deep passes, high volume passing offense. So if you guys saw Justin Herbert this past week versus the Chiefs, he just went off. He did really good. The wide receivers were connecting with him. It was just a really good thing going on when he versed the Chiefs that day. And I think this is still going to go on into the next game versus the Raiders, since the Raiders aren't the best with the secondary. The front is pretty solid, but the secondary isn't the best. So the Raiders secondary is going to give up a lot to Justin Herbert. So definitely start him. Last quarterback, Baker Mayfield, Buccaneers at Texans. Favorable matchup. Texans secondary allowed multiple wide receiver touchdowns in week 1. So the Texans defense is another team that doesn't have the best defense. The Buccaneers, as you saw, was the rookie wide receiver getting 2 touchdowns, and also Mike Evans doing his thing. Baker Mayfield is definitely gonna, torch up the Texans easily. Their defense not the greatest, and yeah. So now let's move to the sit category for the quarterback. Russell Wilson, Giants at Cowboys. Offensive line issue facing strong pass rush. Simple. Don't have to explain nothing more. The O-line of the Giants is just horrendous. And yes, the Cowboys defense is not the best of the best, but it's still going to do something to Wilson because the O-line of the Giants is not the greatest. Now, this next one might be a little iffy because I have Daniel Jones, Colts versus Broncos to sit. The reason why is that limited weapons, Broncos defense allows few quarterback points in week 1. So the Broncos have a really good defense. I'm not sure Daniel Jones will really drop that many numbers like he did versus the Dolphins. It maybe will happen, but I feel like it's more likely going to be less than the amount that he did versus the Dolphins. The Dolphins defense really just all over the place. The Broncos have more of a steady, in-place defense that they know what they're doing compared to the Dolphins. So I would sit Daniel Jones if you really have other quarterbacks that might be a better starter. Next up, Joe Flacco, Browns at Ravens. Low volume offense, predictable plays. So the Ravens have a pretty good defense. Yes, they, you can say, well, the Bills defense and the Ravens defense weren't the best that night. Yes, but the Ravens defense is a little bit better than the Bills defense overall. And also, the Ravens know Joe Flacco. Harbaugh knows Joe Flacco. So he's going to know how to, cover Joe Flacco easily. And him and Daniel Jones are I really want to say start, but I have to say I have to be more reasonable because of the defense that they're versing. Yes, they're pretty impressive week 1, but you have to be much more reasonable when you do the start and sit sometimes. Last but not least, sit Jaden Daniels, Commanders at Packers. Packers secondary strong versus passing QBs. It's just a low upside. I feel like it's just very, very risky at the moment because as I saw the Cowboys versus the Packers, not bad. Not bad. Lions versus the Packers, it was just like, Lions are a good team, but oh my god, the Packers were just defense looked like they were Super Bowl playoff contenders, how well they were playing. So it's too much of a risk. Terry McLaurin didn't really do a whole lot. Yes, Deebo Samuel who did something, but it's too much of a risk. I wouldn't really start them. It's just the defense. The Packers are just on a whole other level right now. Now let's move on to running backs. Now we're gonna start. First is Travis Etienne, Jaguars at Bengals, lead back, goal line work, and receiving upside. Some of you may be like, wait, why are you gonna start Travis Etienne? Like, yeah, he had one really good game, but the defense of the Bengals looked pretty good week 1. Yes, but you have to see the fact that the Jaguars running game is much different than it was last year. And how about that? It looks like Travis Etienne is definitely going to get back into his mojo of a player that he should be instead of what he shouldn't be. So I think he can do really good on the run versus the Bengals. Now, it all depends. I don't think he's going to go over 100, 300 yards type of day, but he's going to do somewhat of a good work. Because if you saw the defense for the Bengals, they did pretty good with the run. But I think the Jaguars are going to have a little bit of an edge, a little better than how the Browns ran on the Bengals. Next up, Bijan Robinson, Falcons at Vikings. Workhorse, high touches against weak run defense. 100%. Easily. I don't have to go any. He's number 1, number 2 best fantasy player that you have in fantasy football. Don't have to explain nothing more than that. Third one, Christian McCaffrey, 49ers at Saints. Heavy receiving role. Saints allow running back catches. In general, though, I feel like even if it's just passing and it's just McCaffrey running, McCaffrey's still going to beat the Saints. The Saints are not a good team. They're really not a good team. You saw week 1, they were not good. I think they scored like 10 points, not even. So they're not a good team at all. Now we got Saquon Barkley, Eagles at Chiefs. Workhorse with goal line carry, Chiefs weak, and dual threat running back. So again, another running back you should always start. Don't have to go into any detail of that. Yeah. Now we got Derrick Henry, Ravens versus Rams. Pretty much why you should start him is that Ravens both beat Henry high volume of carry and red zone touches. Rams allow 125 rushing yards to lead running back in week 1. Yeah, dual threat boost fantasy ceiling. Easily, the Rams aren't really the greatest when it comes to run in week 1, and I feel like Derrick Henry is just doing Derrick Henry thing. Same player, keep starting him. Jahmyr Gibbs, Lions versus Bears. Receiving back, Bears allow running back reception. So pretty much like always start Gibbs as well. Nothing changes that. He's still going to be doing his thing. Now as for the running back sits, we're going to do Isaiah Pacheco, Chiefs versus Eagles, limited touches, low scoring chance. He's really, he might get the ball, but like I feel like he's not going to be doing as much because the Eagles front defense is going to do a lot of the work when it comes to stopping the run. As for Dak Charbonnet, I can't pronounce his last name, Seahawks at Steelers, running back committee, inconsistent touches. So, yes, last week he did get a good amount of fantasy points to some people, but I just wouldn't really rely on him since he's like a back cow. I wouldn't really risk it, but if you have to, put him in your flex for sure. Kenneth Gainwell, Steelers versus Seahawks, committee, inconsistent snaps count. So, yeah, he got a lot of snaps this past week, a lot more than any other backup running back, but you can't trust a lot of these backup running backs a lot of times because you don't know how many snaps he'll get this week, and then it's like, wait, I could have used this guy as bench this week, he has more snaps. So I would do more of my research if I were you. I wouldn't really flex him. I wouldn't flex him at all. I wouldn't. Now let's move on to wide receivers. Start, Dave Flowers, Ravens versus Browns, primary target, high red zone usage. I had him this past week. He did amazing, like 30-something points for me. Like amazing. Definitely, number 1 wide receiver for the Ravens. Lamar's going to hit him easily. Hollywood Brown, Chiefs versus Eagles, deep threat, high ceiling, and pass-heavy offense. Definitely would start, Hollywood Brown is going to be the number 1 option for the Chiefs, as you guys may or may not know. Xavier Worthy is out, I think, for a couple of weeks or so. So Hollywood Brown will be the number 1 option at the wide receiver position. Next up, Ricky Purcell, 49ers at Saints, leading wide receiver duo to injuries, high target share. Yeah, Ricky really isn't a type of player that will get a lot of targets. He's usually a third and fourth option, but since everyone's injured, he's definitely going to be the number one guy for now. So definitely go for it. Plus, the Saints defense isn't the greatest. Jamar Chase, Bengals versus Jaguars, elite wide receiver, high floor and ceiling. No question about that. Start him every single week. Jamar Chase. Last but not least, CeeDee Lamb, Cowboys versus Giants, primary weapon, divisional game. Easily one of the best wide receivers in the game. CeeDee Lamb, start him. No question about that. Plus, Giants secondary is a little bit, yes, they got a little better, but CeeDee Lamb can do CeeDee Lamb things. Now, sit. DJ Moore Bears versus Lions, limited QB support, tough secondary. Secondary of the Lions is pretty good, but I would try to avoid DJ Moore in general because he got injured, sort of, so it's a little bit of a risk factor. I wouldn't really push it. It does look like the other wide receivers getting more touches than he has, especially if he's coming off of a someone injury that almost scared everyone. I would try to avoid him. Devontae Smith, Eagles versus Chiefs. Target competition, low ceiling. Yeah, Smith didn't really get that many targets last week. I feel like AJ Brown did a lot more since he didn't get nothing. So that one would be tossed up in the air, but I just would try to avoid Smith at the moment. Michael Pittman Jr., Colts versus Broncos, limited target share, difficult secondary. Secondary, really good for the Broncos. I just wouldn't really put Michael Pittman in. But like I say, always, if you have to, he's the only good player, then go ahead. But I would try to avoid him at the moment. Now, last but not least, Jerry Jeudy Browns at Colts, not primary weapon, limited red zone usage. So yeah, week one, Jerry Jeudy didn't really do a whole lot. It was, what's that guy's name? Milton or something like that? I think it's Milton. He got much more the target. Looks like Joe Flacco could be targeting much more to him. Not really Jerry Jeudy. So Jerry Jeudy might lose his wide receiver one badge. I want to say badge. I would say like let Milton do his thing. Yeah, I just don't trust Jerry Jeudy because Milton just showed that Joe Flacco should just aim for him instead of, Jerry Jeudy. Now we're going to move on to the tight end. So Travis Kelce, Chiefs versus Eagles, elite tight end one, high target share in the red zone. Easily should start Travis Kelce every single week. TJ Hawkinson, Vikings versus Falcons, volume heavy tight end, strong matchup versus Falcons, soft middle coverage. So the Falcons middle coverage isn't the greatest, but I'll say the fact that you have a rookie quarterback, and you see in week one, he was trying to target him much more often. So it looks like TJ Hawkinson is going to get much more the target because Justin Jefferson is the only wide receiver one making a lot of the passes. And then everyone else, no, because it's just nobody really a second wide receiver. Injury, suspended. So I think TJ Hawkinson will be the next guy with Justin Jefferson that gets a lot of the target. Harold Fannin Jr., Browns versus Ravens, emerging tight end one, favorable matchup. So I would say that he is somewhat favorable tight end one, but I would say in the middle, like start and sit. It's a little risky, but I would say start because he seemed like he's getting a lot more of the target. Yeah. As for Juwan Johnson, Saints versus 49ers, reliable red zone option, high usage in the passing scheme. So pretty much the wide receivers are all injured for the Saints. And if you saw last week, Johnson was just doing really, really good because he was the only good guy that was getting the ball. Now, let's go for sit. George Kittle, 49ers at Saints, injured, limited practice participation. So George Kittle out for about 3 to 5, maybe 3 to 6 weeks. I have him. It's a heartbreaker. He did really good for a touchdown this season, but ended up getting injured, leg area. It is what it is. Brock Bowers, Raiders versus Chargers. Knee injury and use is uncertain. So, if he does play, I'm a little bit concerned because I'm not sure if he'll get a lot of the target, but he might actually just get a lot of the target because he's just really good. But if he doesn't play, then I would say try to avoid a backup tight end. But if you have nobody else, I would say go for the backup tight end for the Raiders if that's the case. Evan Ingram, Broncos at Colts, calf injury, limited upside. Yeah, he's a little bit of injured right now. I would try to avoid him. It would just be a little bit of a risk because injury is kind of a little bit. So try to avoid him if that really happened. And the last tight end we're going to do is Cade Otton, Buccaneers at Texans, limited snap, low ceiling. It's really, it didn't look good for Cade. I feel like the reason why the rookie wide receiver doing his thing, Mike Evans doing his thing, I feel like leaning towards the run game a little bit more. I don't think he even got the ball last week. So I would try to avoid him because I don't think he's going to be involved as much as he did last year. Since last year, either Chris Godwin was the only wide receiver or Mike Evans was the only wide receiver. Then they needed him. But this time it's a little bit of a risk to start him. But like I always say, if you only have him, no other good players, then just start him. Now, last but not least, I'm going to go for a little bit of a kicker, a little bit of the defense, not so much as compared to the other positions. So, Matt Prater, Bills versus Jets, high scoring offense, plenty of field goal opportunities, easily. I picked him up in fantasy. Definitely going to do a lot of kicking easily for the Bills, as he did this past week for the Ravens. Joey Sly, I said his last name right, sounds like a boxing name or some last name. Titans versus Ravens, consistent kicker. Titans may settle for field goals in tight games. So last week, Joey did really good. I think he was like 4 for 4 or 5 for 5, and he did really good. So you'll get a lot of points out of him. Spencer Strider, Colts versus Broncos, kickoff opportunities. Colts offense should provide multiple scoring chances. I think so because, the defense of the Broncos is good. I feel like the defense of the Broncos is going to be doing a lot to hold back them getting touchdowns. So Spencer will have a good chance getting, points for you. Now let's move on to the kicker sit. Let's talk first. Matt G, Commanders at Packers. Tough matchup. Packers limit field goal attempts. I feel like the Packers defense is going to be really good. I feel like Matt G may not get that many attempts, but it's a little risky. Randy Bullock, Giants versus Cowboys, limited opportunity, low ceiling. I agree. Cowboys, the Giants offense like all over the place. They have no rhythm or nothing. And then last but not least, Cameron D, Chargers at Raiders, uncertain snaps, inconsistent uses. It's very up in the air. I don't trust them as well. Now let's go over defense. Start 49ers defense at Saints. Top ranked favorable matchup versus injury depleted Saints. Saints have no wide receivers, only a little bit. The quarterback not the greatest, and the 49ers defense will do amazing. Definitely pick them up and start them. Rams defense at Titans. Good pass rush. Titans offense may struggle. The Titans are still young. Quarterback still a rookie. Just isn't a confident way to really have the Titan organization go forward in this matchup. Rams defense going to do the damage. And then pretty much with the last but not least, Broncos defense at Colts. Opportunities unit. Colts still adjusting after week 1 win. Yes, you can say the Colts may actually do really good, but the Broncos defense are really good in general. Way better than the Colts offense. Definitely would start the Broncos defense. Defense versus Eagles, high scoring opponent, low floor. Easily should not start the Chiefs. Eagles are just too good on offense. You cannot stop them. Giant defense versus Cowboys, tough divisional matchup. Could give up big plays. Giants secondary don't really trust. I feel like CeeDee Lamb and the offense are going to run over the Giants. I know the Giants front line is solid, really good I would say, but I just don't trust the Giants defense doing their thing. And guys, that is the NFL starter sit of week 2 of the 2025 NFL season. If you guys have any questions about which player you want to start and sit, comment down below. I'll be more happy to answer any in the comment section. And also, I will be doing another live stream on Saturday before Sunday so that, I can answer some of your last minute questions. If there's any injury happens or any updates, we'll live stream for like an hour and I'll give you guys, what you should or shouldn't do and etc. And I'll see you guys next video.